Alright, we're back with sort of another tutorial, but this is a new series I'm starting since the new Chaos Space Marine vs. Eldar box got announced. I figure there's going to be people who want to know how to paint some Chosen. So here's Chosen right here, and we're going to paint him. We're going to paint him Alpha Legion style today. And we're going to do this with some contrast and some not contrast, and we'll see where we get. So we're starting off with Achelian Green. We're just going to apply this all over the armor. Honestly, most of this paint job is going to be layer paint, not contrast paint. So we can just kind of go crazy and put this all over everything. The contrast colors that we are going to use are darker than this, and so if we go over anything that we're going to contrast later, we can just paint right over it. The only thing I might try to avoid, we'll see how easy it is to avoid, is this cloth hanging down right in front of him. I might try to do that in contrast just because it would look cool, but if it's difficult to avoid, then I won't bother. I'm going to get all of his bolter. Not sure exactly what parts of his bolter are going to be his Legion color and which aren't yet, so I'm just going to get the whole thing. Just make sure it's all nice and coated there. I want to make sure this is going on smooth. Typically contrast paint doesn't work that well on big flat surfaces, but thankfully on the Chosen they have so much surface detail that really you don't have big flat surfaces that contrast doesn't work on. Personally, I think I've gotten pretty good at applying contrast to flat surfaces and having it look decent, not incredible, but not bad. So there's that also, because on the back here there are some bigger surfaces versus on the front. But in any event, I'm going to finish this up, making sure this is applied liberally to all the parts. Oh, there you go. I've just gone over some of the cloth. So we'll just paint the cloth in with a layer paint, no problem at all, and not have to worry about it. But yeah, like I was saying before I interrupted myself, I'm going to finish applying this all over the miniature. Let this completely dry, and then we'll come back and we'll do the probably quite long step of adding the trim to this guy. I'll see you then. Alright, we're back, and our Achelian Green is all dry. Now we're going to go on to the second step. I think I said we were going to do the trim next, but we're actually not. We're going to go to Mournfang Brown now and just do the leather and the cloth and stuff. This is just because there's a lot of metal bits on top of the cloth, and so we don't want to have to paint around that when we come back to do the cloth, so we'll just do it first. So it's just going to be all of the leather hanging off his belt here, his belt itself if it wraps around him, the strap on his gun right here, and possibly a couple other places. I'll have to poke around the miniature and see. But then once we do this, we'll be able to go in and do all the silver all at once, because we can just, like, especially this symbol is why I really decided to do it. Having to paint this brown around this symbol if it was already silver would have been a nightmare. So by doing this first, order of operations can get it done for us. So that should be all done now. I'll get the edges and the back and stuff there, but I'm just now going to check to see what else needs to be brown. So this right here, it's like strap holding all the bullets together. I always paint that like leather. I don't know, I mean, real life it obviously isn't leather, but for a Chaos Space Marine, just to force some contrast onto the miniature, I think that's fine to be leather. And then this up here. This leather. And then, of course, I'll get the other side of this. And I think that's going to be it on that. So I will finish this up, do the sides here, get in there, finish that strap, make sure I got all the sides of that, and then let that dry, and we'll come back, and then we actually will get to the trim. Alright, we're back with our brown all finished up, and now we're going to move on to doing the trim. And for that, I'm going to use black metal from scale 75. This is basically Iron Warriors from Games Workshop. I just happen to be out of Iron Warriors right now, and the paint shipments have been crazy delayed recently, so I haven't been able to restock on a lot of colors, so I've been subbing in some scale 75 and some Reaper and some other things. But rest assured, if you put Iron Warriors on this, you'll get almost the exact same color. I'm sure there are some really good painters out there who are saying, no, they're completely different colors, you cannot substitute, but I'm not one of those. So I'm just going to go with close enough, and we'll call it a day. So I'm just putting this on all the trim on this guy. This is going to be probably the longest step of any of this. There's trim basically all over him. So just going to go slow. Make sure I get it all. I'm just going to, when I'm painting a detail like this that is all over something, and I don't want to miss any of it, I just go body part by body part, make sure to hit it all, and then move on to the next body part. So I'm going to just focus on the chest here, make sure I get all of the chest done, then I might go on to the right arm, or the right shoulder, then the head, so on and so forth, just making sure that I don't miss out on any little bits of trim, because nothing worse than thinking you're done with a paint scheme at the very end and then realizing that you actually have to go back to your third step and keep painting. So these teeth that you see on here, like right here, they're on him in a bunch of different places. Those are going to be a different color at the end, so if silver gets on them, it's not a big deal, but I'm not purposely trying to make them silver. And then he's got these cables that kind of go all over the place, and at each end there's a little bit of metal, so I'm going to paint that in silver, but the cables themselves will be a different color. So I'm just going to do this now for the next probably 20 minutes or so. I'm doing all this trim. I'm also going to do the symbol there hanging from his waist, and then possibly the chainmail, although the chainmail might end up being a different color. We'll have to see about that. But I'm going to carry on doing all this trim, let it dry, and then once it is, I'll come back and we'll do the next step. Alright, we're back, and I think all the silver is done on him. I could have missed some, I don't think I did, but we'll know going forward. But now, we're going to do all these, fleshy cables that are attached to him. We're going to start with Katie and Flesh Tone for this. And so these are just going to be on, he's got a couple here in the front. Sort of go up under here. He's got some on the other side, and then of course this right here, and then again on the other side, and then he also has this stuff up here which I'm going to paint the same way. All this stuff connected to the backpack. I might need a smaller brush for some of it, but just trying to avoid the blue where at all possible. There we go, and I am going to get the smaller brush just to get in right in here and get that part. do the same thing over here. And again, not going to paint the nails. They'll be different once they'll be a different color, possibly on the next step. We'll have to see. But yeah, so I'm just going to do those. I'm also going to paint these cables on the side of his head here the same way. So yeah, I'll finish these up. Make sure to get the opposite side of everything I just did. Let that dry, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, so that's all on there, drying, or mostly dry. Now we're going to move on to Black Templar, and just do in some details while we wait for everything to be ready for our next step. So, this is going to be on the joints in the armor. So right here, and the elbows, back of the kneecaps, that sort of thing. I'm going to put it on the chainmail. So I want the chainmail to be a different color than the rest of the armor trim. So it'll still be kind of shiny under there, but it'll be mostly dark. There we go. And then look for any other armor joints. He's got a little bit right under his head here. And let's see where else. Back of his legs. Being careful to not go overboard with this and hit the silver. And I'm also going to do the insides of these the vents or the thrusters or whatever they are in here. Going to do them. Just wipe off any that gets on the rims of these. Then I'm going to do the insides of these. Again, just wipe off any that gets on the rim here. There we go. And then let's look around. Oh, I was going to do it on the bolter grip here. It will still retain a little bit of that blue or green that we put on it earlier, but not enough to matter, at least in my opinion. And then on the handle of the bolter here. And I'll see if any of the handle is exposed of the pistol. And if it is, I'll do it on there as well. Let's see. Yep, there is some, so we'll put it right in there. And just here on the bottom. There we go. Alright, and that should do it. I'll just double check, make sure there isn't anything else that needs to be black on here, and if not, we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, so that's all dry or drying, and now we're going to move on to the next color on this flesh we have here, and that's going to be Magos Purple. And we're just going to put this like a wash over all of our Cadian flesh tone. This will make it a little more strange looking and not just like straight up skin. And the purple will work, I think, will look pretty good with the blue armor. So we're just making sure to apply this liberally enough that it changes the value of these things. But we don't want to get it all over the silver or the blue or anything. So just being careful. Especially making sure to get it in all of these spots where it looks like there's some ribbing or something exposed. I don't remember if I said this in the beginning. I do apologize for that, but this miniature is primed with Wraithbone. I know sometimes it can appear when it first comes on camera because of the color of my lights, or the temperature of my lights. It can appear very bright and white, but it is Wraithbone, so it does have a slight cream color to it, or an off-white. Alright, so just get this other side here, and then make sure we've got everything covered. Get down in there. Make sure we've got it there. Alright. And that should be all of that. Good. So we'll wait for that to dry, and then come back and paint in all the little teeth and claws and stuff that are on him. Alright, we're back, and the Magos Purple is taking longer than I'd like to wait to dry, so we're going to move on instead to our Corn Red. And this is going to be for just a couple little spots on the armor that are what I assume are inspiration of the Eye of Horus, or it is the Eye of Horus itself. There's one there on his chest, and then we have this symbol here on his bolter, or his bolt pistol rather, and then again on the other side, and then I feel like there's something else that I was going to paint in with this color, and I now don't remember what it was. Ah, it was the tongue of this beast on his shoulder pad here. This beast is going to be painted in green. At least his face, because that's the color of the chapter symbol for the Ultramarines. I mean, what? Man. The Legion symbol for the Alpha Legion. Sorry, I was just already getting into disguise for when I play these guys. But yeah, it's a bright green color, and so we will do that. Ah, yes, there's another one down here. Alright, now we probably should be good. Hopefully dry enough. So we'll go straight into the green, and that's going to be moot green that we're going to use. It's pretty bright green. I think you could probably even go one step brighter if you really wanted to, but this will do fine for me right now. And so I'm just going to paint all of the teeth and claws and stuff that appear on his armor in this color. And in a paint scheme like this, I'm not planning on doing any freehanding, so I'm not going to paint the chapter symbol, but I still want to kind of call back to the color scheme that the chapter symbol being present would create. So I still want that color on the miniature, and so this seemed like an easy way to do it. Just being very careful not to get this paint anywhere it doesn't belong. And just working my way around, getting it all. And so when we come to this creature on this side here, I'm just going to do the kind of the raised portions of the face in this color. Like this. Got a little bit of the silver there, just wipe it off with my finger. And come back on this side. Here, and then the whole horn here is going to be green. There we go. Wonderful. Alright, so yeah, and then I'm just going to go around the rest of the miniature looking for all the instances of these little teeth and claw things, and just painting them all in with this bright green. So once that's all done, I'll let everything completely dry, and then I think we will come back and do some final detailing, and then let everything dry one more time, and then come back and do the washes. So that should be exciting. Yeah, as soon as I finish this green, I will be back to do the next step. Alright, we're back with our green nice and dry. Now we're going to do a couple colors in one. We're going to start with Morghast Bone, and this is just going to be for the big old spike on the top of his head. So I'm just going to grab this and Get it straight on there. We'll probably need 2 coats for this. This Achillean green is a pretty dark color, so asking this to cover it in 1 coat is probably not going to happen. So I'll just put the 1 on there, and then I'll make sure it's got a nice smooth coat in the break. Then I'm going to go for Fire Dragon Bright, and this is just going to be for the eye lenses. The eye lenses on this guy are quite inlaid in here, or inset, so I'm just going to be really careful. And just come in like that. And then on the other one, do the same thing. There we go. That'll do. And then I'm going to use some Scale 75 Necro Gold. And I'm just going to change a couple of the things that I painted silver earlier with this color. Squeeze some of this out. And so this chaos symbol here, the outer ring, I'm going to make this gold. And because it's got a metallic already under it, I don't need perfect coverage. I just want to change the color of it a little bit there. This face on his kneecap, I'm going to change this to gold, at least the front part of it. Just like this. Just kind of overbrushing sort of onto this. And then get just the top part of the kneecap there. There we go. And then this chaos symbol hanging from his pistol. I want this to be in gold as well. Oh yeah, and then the one last thing, I think. Nope, 2 last things. This skull is going to change to gold. There we go. And this chaos symbol on his bolter is going to be gold. I just thought that there might have been a little too much silver going on. So just to mix it up a little bit, and just add a little bit of gold there. And I think that would do it. So I'm just going to make sure that our Morghast bone has a nice even coat on that horn there. And then we will come back, add some washes, and call him done. Alright, we're back, and everything is mostly dry now. Now we're going to start with Agrax Earthshade here. This is going to go on basically everything that isn't silver or green. So all this leather stuff is going to have this put on it. If it does get a little bit on the silver, it's not the end of the world. We'll be putting Nuln Oil over the silver anyway, so it'll be fine. But all the gold and the leather there. Bring this down there. All the gold here on the leg. I'm just going to do all the gold first, so I don't forget any parts of it. And then just right here on the bolter. And the other side as well. And then this strap here. The horn on his head, we want to concentrate the majority of this wash on the bottom of the horn. Like that. Maybe a little less on this side. There we go. And then we want to get all these appendages that we did earlier. We want to put it pretty light on this. We don't want to completely get rid of the purple hue that we had. But we do want to deepen the shadows of it, so. Just get it all over there. Make sure not to miss any. I'm sure I still will. And I think that's all of them from the front angle. I'll get the ones in the back. There we go. Alright. Oh, and then this brown here. The bullets there, and then make sure I got it enough here and in between the legs here. And then the belt. I think that's it. So then we're going to get our null oil. And this is going to go on the silver and the green. It's obviously, while doing it on the silver, it's going to get on the blue a little bit. That's fine. Not a big deal. We're just not going to put it on every piece of the blue. It's also going to go in the eye lenses onto the orange. We just want to make sure that we pull it enough out of the eye lenses so we can still see the orange. So like on this shoulder pad, I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to put it all over the whole shoulder pad. It will obviously hit the blue, but that's okay. And then on this, so I'm just going to put it like that all over it, and then just dab it off the middle there with my finger, just so the blue stays nice and bright. Right. And so then it'll just be about working around the miniature, making sure that we have our null oil getting on all these bits of silver and metallic. I think I'll do it on the red as well. Why not? But yeah, so while I finish this, you guys will go through a time warp, and right about now you should be seeing him all finished up. I'll probably put a simple base on him, nothing too fancy. Just probably painted the base a color and then put some tufts on it. But that'll do for this paint job. I'm just trying to knock these Chaos Space Marines out in case there are any new Chaos players starting out pretty soon with the release of the new box set. Figure it couldn't hurt to give them a jump start. And these Chaos, or these Chosen models are pretty sweet, so they deserve a paint job, I think. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. If you're looking for a different Legion, there will be more coming in the future. I plan to do a Chosen for each of them. Not sure how long that will take me, but I hope to get them out before the box set comes out, or at least very soon after. But in any event, thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next one.